If you're watching this because you think you already know what is happening in the Vancouver market right now, I would ask you to give me about 90 seconds because I think you are only getting half the story. The official numbers that came out this week say Vancouver home sales jumped 8.2% in a single month and are up 9.6% from a year ago, according to the Edge report. That sounds like a market waking up, and for one part of the city, it actually is. But there's a second number buried in a Globe and Mail piece that ran alongside this report, and it is honestly the more important one. A Toronto-based research firm sent someone into the Vancouver market to secretly shop new condo developments, and that person was offered a discount of roughly $700 a square foot on the condition that he signed a non-disclosure agreement, so he would never tell anyone what he actually paid. It would not be recorded on the MLS. Now here's the thing, that is not a rumor from a Reddit thread, that is a licensed research analyst on the record in a national newspaper. The sales numbers say the market is recovering, and at the exact same time, developers are quietly paying people to keep the real price a secret. Those two things do not add up, and I want to walk you through why, because by the end of this video, I'm going to give you the exact question you can ask any developer or any listing agent that will tell you in about 10 seconds whether the price you're looking at is real or fake. My name is Kyle Mark. Thank you for being here. If you enjoy these videos, give it a like. If you want to get subscribed to the channel, our goal is to get to 5,000, and I would very much appreciate that. If you're looking to make a move in the city of Vancouver, that is where we work. You can book a call with us in the first link in the description. So here's what that discount actually cost somebody. If you bought a presale condo in the city in the last couple of years at what you thought was the market price, and your neighbor 2 floors down gets offered $700 a square foot under an NDA, your building's real value just moved and you were never told. Your appraisal does not know, your bank does not know, and the person who bought the unit beside yours at full price and is trying to sell it next year does not know either, because the comparable sale that would tell the truth was never allowed to become public. And if you are a buyer right now trying to figure out whether a listing is priced fairly, you're working off numbers that a growing number of sellers have financial incentive to keep artificially high on paper while quietly negotiating something very different behind closed doors. I've been telling my own clients for months now that this recovery was not going to move evenly across every property type, and this report and the story sitting quietly next to it is about as clean a confirmation of that as I've seen all year. And I want to be careful here because I'm not telling you the Vancouver market has fallen apart, and I'm not telling you to panic because that is not what the data actually shows. What I'm telling you is that this market has split into pieces that are moving in completely different directions at the same time, and if you read the headline number without understanding the pieces underneath it, you're going to make a decision based on a story that is not true for your specific situation. Now, some of you are going to say a market cannot go up and down at the same time, and I understand why that feels contradictory, but real estate in a city this size is almost never one story. It is always several stories layered on top of each other, and the mistake most people make is reading the average and assuming it applies to their exact property type and their exact neighborhood. And here's what I'm going to walk you through. Number one, which part of this market actually is waking up and why. Number two, why prices are still falling even while sales go up. And number three, this hidden discount problem and what it actually means depending on whether you are buying, selling, or already own. Make sure you stick around to the end because that question I mentioned, the one that exposes a fake price in about 10 seconds, changes how you should read every single listing you look at in the city from here on forward. So number one, the part of this market that is genuinely coming back to life. That headline sales jump I opened with is real. It's not a rounding error. But when you break it apart by property type, you see the whole story. Single family detached sales are up just under 13% year over year, and condo sales are up 6%, and that gap is the entire personality of this market right now. Detached buyers are moving, entry-level, move-in ready houses that are priced honestly are getting bid on again, and I know that in the last couple weeks, I've been in 2 multiple offers with detached homes in the North Vancouver area. Along with those 2 North Vancouver multiple scenarios, I was also in a multiple offer scenario in West Vancouver in a condo and in the Brentwood area as well. So we are seeing that if there is value out there, buyers know and they're willing to bid on it. But keep in mind, when we're talking about multiple offers, this is not like 2020, 2021, where multiples are going several $100,000 over asking. Most multiple offers that I've seen in the last 2 years barely get to ask. If you're lucky, they are getting to asking. So if you're a seller, keep that in mind. Some will go above that asking price. That is not the norm anymore. If you are lucky, you're getting to your asking price. The reason houses are moving and condos are not comes down to supply, and this is where my background actually matters. I spent 11 years in construction before I ever got into real estate, and one thing that is not talked about enough is that single family completions across this province have fallen off a cliff, down from around 6,500 units a year to roughly 3,500 on a rolling 12-month basis. Financing costs for builders went up, pre-sale deposits structures got harder to fill, and a lot of smaller builders simply stopped pulling permits. You end up with fewer new detached homes finishing at the exact moment more buyers come back into the lane, and that combination is what is pushing single-family sales up faster than anything else in this market. Along with that, we know that single-family homes are being torn down at a rate that we have never seen to be able to put up duplexes, triplexes, multiplexes, sixplexes as well. So at some point, this is going to come home to roost where there's only going to be a finite amount of detached homes for those individuals who specifically want detached properties. Number two, why prices are still going down even though sales just went up. Now here's a part that trips people up because they hear sales are rising and they assume prices must be about to follow. They are not, at least not yet. The benchmark price across Vancouver peaked at a little over $1.2 million back in 2022 and now sits closer to $1.08 million, which puts it down more than 11% from that high, and the index has posted a monthly decline for a year and a half straight. Sales can rise for months before that turns around because the market has to work through the extra inventory that built up first, and new listings are still coming onto the board, even as fewer people list compared to last year. And I want to be careful here because the bear case on this is real, and I'm not going to pretend it is not. Affordability in this region, measured as ownership costs against the median household income, is sitting close to the highest level it has been since the late 1980s. Even with prices down from the peak and mortgage rates lower than they were 2 years ago, that is the honest reason a lot of buyers are still on the fence, even with better selection than they have had in a decade. One realtor who actually feeds data into the same market report put it about as directly as anyone I've read this year. He said, detached is genuinely better, entry-level move-in ready houses are selling, and condos are still struggling badly, not getting better at all. And if you have a generic product in this market, you have to hammer the price hard just to get a single offer. And for myself, having watched this market for years, I think that is one of the most honest lines I've read from anyone covering this city. And for myself, having watched this market for years and being more of a listing dominant agent, I 100% agree with that assessment. If you have something that's a little bit more unique, a floor plan that's challenging or in a harder location, the only way to get around that is you have to be very, very aggressive in pricing. And I see that all the time with listings of mine that are harder to sell. Number three, the hidden discount and why it distorts everything you think you know about condo pricing. This is the part I opened with, and I want to go back to it now that you have the full picture, because the Toronto research analyst who got offered the secret discount was not shopping in some random building. He was shopping in the exact segment we just described, the struggling condo segment where developers are sitting on unsold, overpriced inventory in a falling market. And instead of just cutting the list price publicly, which would show up in the data and would let every other buyer in that building ask for that same deal, some developers are doing it privately through a signed non-disclosure agreement so the public price stays exactly where it was on paper. Now, some of you watching this are going to say, well, if it is a secret, how would anybody ever prove it or use it? And this is a fair question, so here's the answer. When a project has been sitting for a while, when incentives keep changing, when a sales team gets cagey the moment you ask for their absolute best and final cash price in writing, that hesitation is itself the tell. A developer who is confident in their price will put their best number in writing immediately. A developer who is sitting on real discount they don't want the market to see will stall, redirect you to a payment plan, or offer you an upgrade package instead of a number. Depending on how that conversation goes, you can usually tell within one phone call whether the sticker price is the real price. And here's a question I promised you at the top. Whether you are looking at a pre-sale, a completed unsold unit, or even a resale condo that has been sitting a while, ask directly for their best cash price in writing with no incentives, no upgrades, no rate buy downs folded in, just the number, and ask for it before you tour the unit or fall in love with it to view. If they give it to you immediately and it lines up with recent comparable sales, that is a real price. If they hesitate, if they need to check with the sales manager, or if they try to redirect you to a bonus package instead, that hesitation is the actual data point and it is worth more than anything printed on the price sheet. And I'll be honest, this frustrates me because the people who get hurt by this are not the developers. They are the regular owners in these buildings who bought at full price in good faith and whose home's real value is being quietly hidden from the very market that is supposed to set. One thing I do want to note with these NDAs, because there has been a lot of pushback and I've seen it on social media challenges. As a seller, you have the right to sell your home however you may want to. Just think about for sale by owners. Those never hit the MLS. Those sales are private as well. Exclusive listings as well. They never make it to the MLS either. So there are different avenues within this market and there's pros and cons to it. If you're selling for sale by owner, you do not get the exposure. If you're selling an exclusive listing, you don't get the MLS exposure either. So there are pros and cons to this. Just because a developer or seller wants to sign an NDA, NDAs are in many different type of capacities and industries. And at the end of the day, I know that the pushback is that realtors or developers are trying to hedge their bets, but at the end of the day, no one is forcing anyone to take a deal. No one can force you how to sell your property either. And yes, maybe these NDAs look a little bit sketchy on the back end, but if someone is willing to transact at a price and take those losses and want to make it private, I do think that is their right. Yes, there is still a ton of data on the MLS, and these transactions are very, very few and far between. So yes, it's made the headlines. Obviously with the media, they're looking at something to clickbait you to get an emotional response, which this will. But keep in mind, this is not how things generally go. And at the end of the day, a seller can sell their home behind closed doors if they choose to do so. So let's bring this all the way back together then. So number one, houses are moving because completions fell off a cliff, and at the same time, buyers are coming back, not only for those who need that extra space to take advantage of the upside, but the developers are as well. So if you're shopping detached and you find something priced honestly, that hesitation I mentioned earlier about my own buyer is the actual risk you are taking right now, not the other way around. Number two, prices are still soft because the index always lags the sales turn, and affordability near a 1980s high means this recovery is going to be slow and uneven rather than a snapback. Number three, if condos are a part of your plan at all, whether you are buying, selling, or already own one, get the real cash price in writing before you trust anything else on that page. The market right now is not the one story. It is two stories running in opposite directions under the same headline, and the only way to make a good decision in either one of them is to stop reading the average and start asking the specific question that gets you that number. If you need help with that, book that call with me with the QR code, the first link in the description. See you on the next one.